I believe that we're all part of something massive and lovely. And if you explore that, wow, the closest thing to me is another human being. We're a divinity, uh, beholding divinity, and you surrender to this instantaneous and spontaneous. We call it upside or out of the blue. The magic happens. On the other hand, if we go rational, and isn't it lovely when somebody actually is singing their song? That's the dance of divinity within them. That's the dance of divinity they are. There's one power. No other powers over you. We came here to change in the twinkle of an eye. Personal transformation. We are the unique expression of the divinity.
All right, my friends, I'm here with Mr. 2020, a master manifester and teacher, and he has a couple of websites, freeneville.com and howtofeelitrealfun.com. I like that,
How
real
to feel.
fun. Oh,
It's actually how to feel it real.com.
howtofeelitreal.com. Okay.
Yes.
Hey, I
Cool.
threw the fun in there. So welcome to the show, 2020. How you doing today?
Blaine, I'm awesome. You caught me on a Saturday morning, and to me, this is one of the most glorious times of the week. So it's an absolute pleasure to share some coffee with you today and explore the yummy bits of life. And as I was saying earlier, I love your smile and your style. So it's a privilege to dance with you today.
All right. Well, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that too. So, well, let's get right into it. I know you're a big Neville fan, and you teach people how to acquire their dreams, so to speak. And of course, you could correct me if I say something wrong or something that you don't actually do. But how did you actually get started doing this sort of thing?
Wow. Neville Goddard popped into my lap three times. First, when I was about 11 or 12, I
Oh,
used to
wow.
walk through the cornfields to this place called the Corner Bookstore where you could buy books for 25 cents. And I'd get a bag every week or two. And one of them that I picked up, I mean, I'd buy things like financial books, the Playboy Advisor, because like puberty hit and I wanted to learn about like men and women, uh, all kind of stuff. And one of them, one day, Napoleon Hill. One of them that one day was a Neville Goddard book. And I was reading it on the way home because I thought, man, everyone's going to buy these books that I want. So I was grabbed them and bought them. 25 cents was nothing. And Neville made it to the first rubbish bin because I read and I saw the scripture and I was raised Catholic and I was just questioning everything. It's like, I can't do this. I ripped out a few good pages and I pitched the rest because they were heavy walking home through the corn. And so then Neville showed up after I was in that riot when I was 23. My wife at the time and I joined Amway, and our upline said, hey, here's a couple books to read. Napoleon Hill, Neville Goddard, Psycho-Cybernetics. And again, it's like, all right, I know this Napoleon Hill guy, Psycho-Cybernetics guy. I know him and I like him. And it's like, oh, it's that Neville guy again. And I went through and it's like, oh, imagine what implies. That's good. And then I gave the books back to him. And the third time, I was experiencing the events of the promise. I was deep into PTSD, trying to find a way to live life and exploring truth. And these events of the promise showed up. And it's like, what the hell is this? What's going on? And I remember this Neville guy wrote about the law and the promise, and the promise was all the weird stuff. And I thought, let me look him back up again. And so that was in my late 20s. And I looked up Neville at that point and fell in love because I got this guy is actually sharing something lovely from experience. He explores it through scripture. That's his style. And he's not making a big deal about it, saying, I'm enlightened and you're not. He's saying, you know what? There's a pattern, and we will all go through the pattern. So we all will wake up and realize who we are and how this works. And meanwhile, there's this thing called the law. And if you follow the rules of the law, you can actually have a life that's worth living. You can be blessed and be the blessing. And I went, okay. And at that point, I got rid of a lot of books that I didn't need anymore. And I started exploring him and life. And I don't know, moved around the world. And here we are.
That's awesome. Can you for our viewers who may not be up to speed on Neville, can you explain a little bit about the difference between the law and the promise, at least in your understanding?
Yeah, I tell you what, I get asked this once in a while. I'd love to say a lot, but I don't. Right? So I get asked this once in a while, and my thing is, so the law to me is about experiencing oneness with what you've wanted. So if I'm single and want to be married and I experience oneness with that, I am that. If I experience oneness with being a Mercedes owner, suddenly my BMW starts falling apart, and I find a Mercedes that a fellow is willing to sell me dirt cheap. That's lovely. It's a beautiful car. So that's the law in a nutshell. This is the 10-second course. The promise is waking up to the realizations of, my awareness of being is God. I am how God has the adventure of a lifetime. And it doesn't make me any better than anyone else. It's we're all the spark behind the eyes. We're what animates the meat suit. I love my meat suit. Sometimes I even take care of it like I take care of my car. But behind it all, as you experience the events of the promise and the awakening of that understanding, you really get, oh wow, if it's true, and my awareness of being is God, I can't help but be loving and lovely. Doesn't mean I won't get frustrated, but I just can't help but express and experience the love that we are.
Oh, come on, 20. God is out there, man. He's not in here. What are you talking about? What do you say to people like that?
uh, what's interesting? It's like, so back in December, Christmas Day, I had this massive epiphany, right? As cool as I think I am, I realized I was remembering when I was fit. I was remembering when I was fighting fit. In other words, I was fat and I was in pain and I was taking painkillers and I needed a walking stick, and my health sucked because I was remembering when I was fit. And so I had this epiphany. I slid into the state of fighting fit. And since then, I've lost uh, two Christmas hams and one turkey of ugly fat. My body is totally transformed. Now, here's my answer to the question that way. People at the pool go, wow, you look great. When did you get your hip replacement? And I say, yeah, well, I didn't have a surgery. Yeah, I'll tell you what I did. I started imagining being who I choose to be, who I want to be. And I found myself unable to eat garbage. And I said, what do you eat? I said, yeah, all I personally eat, this is what's working for me. It may or may not work for you, but all I eat is fat and flesh cooked on fire. I've done it for 11 months. They're like, you're going to die. Like, no, I'm not. Like, look at me. You just complimented me. I'm bright-eyed. I'm bushy-tailed. My blood pressure is even more normalized than ever. Everything's awesome. And they go, oh, I'd never do what you're doing. And it's just the same as I can't ever tell anyone you're God having the adventure of a lifetime until we talk a little bit. Those who watch me over the months, they go, you know what, I'm going to try that eating flesh thing. So cool, do that, skip gnocchi for a month, see what happens, right? Just for fun. But if somebody goes, you know what, you're always positive, you're always loving, and I say, yeah, but I get cranky, and cranky is not good for me. But I honestly love you, and I love people, and I can tell a stranger that I love them, or a puppy dog, a 7-year-old or a 77-year-old. And that opens the door to them going, well, what do you believe? Uh, I I believe that we're all part of something massive and lovely. And if you explore that, wow. And then the conversations either continue or they don't. And I'm fine with either one because I've planted a seed.
Right. Yeah.
And by the way, and I do get the hate mail. Oh, I love the hate mail because it's like, how can you assert that? I don't know. How can you assert the other way?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, hey, there's a fun way to live. You can try it or not. Love ya, and we see what happens.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's really interesting that you bring that up because I am also on that fat and flesh diet, so to speak. I call it
Oh, get out.
the proper way of eating. Yeah, I've lost
Yeah, yeah,
about
yeah.
16 pounds already, and I'm working towards fighting weight. I'm a long time martial artist, and I'm like
Oh, baby.
looking at myself and going, hey, I
Nice.
need to get back to where I used to be, so to speak, and get better. I'm feeling a lot better. The cobwebs are clearing out, all that kind of stuff. It's
Yeah.
so
So you'll appreciate this, Blaine, because a year ago I needed a walking stick and now I'm kicking again,
that's awesome.
right? I needed a walking stick to walk through the garden to get into the pool. And now I'm able to start throwing some nice slow kicks. They're not head kicks yet. I don't need head kicks, but I'm able to start kicking again.
Yeah.
And it's all because, and here's the state I moved into. So the state I moved into, am I allowed to swear? Are we PG, G? Wait, what are we?
And you
Okay,
can swear if it gets too bad, I'll silence it a
okay,
little
cool.
bit. It's mainly
Okay,
I personally don't care. It's just for the algorithm, you know how that goes.
got it. Cool. So we'll minimize the swearing. I was
Just say it.
fat. I was a fat fuck. That was my state, and I moved into fighting fit. So moving into the state of fighting fit, which is what I did as a teenager, I went from being a teenage bedwetter to a teenage black belt. So I moved. I went back and I accessed that whole teenager kid, and I moved into the state of fighting fit. And then that was followed with, because I love alliteration, I'm just nuts about it, fighting fit fleshitarian. And I didn't know fleshitarian was going to be a part of it all. But I got to discover I've got no interest in gnocchi. I've got no interest in vegetables. I have nothing against people that eat them. Uh, but and my wife still eats a lot of that kind of stuff, and it's beautiful. I love watching her eat it and enjoying her joy. But for me, fighting fit fleshitarian works. It's got alliteration. It feels good, and uh, and I get to talk about flesh all the time. What's for lunch? Tony? Flesh cooked on fire.
I love it. I think you just coined a new phrase there.
Well, I actually own the web properties all around that and
Oh,
some
okay.
Facebook stuff. So we're actually coming out with product probably first part of next year. So yeah, fleshitarian,
All
just
right.
for fun. So stay tuned. We'll send you a hat.
Oh, awesome. I appreciate that. I
Cool.
still eat an avocado or once in a while, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm pretty much, I can go weeks without touching a veggie at all.
Yeah, yeah,
And probably the only reason I probably do eat the avocado is if I'll make some taco meat or something like that. It's like, yeah, man, maybe I'll throw a little
yeah. Yum.
avocado or something,
Yeah,
you know.
beautiful. Nice.
But as we all know, avocado is, mostly fat and fiber,
Yeah.
and they taste great. So
Oh, they're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. They're the supermodels of the vegetable world.
yeah, there you go. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah, they're gorgeous.
That's awesome. So let me ask you, when you were experiencing some of the promises before you actually knew what they were, it sounds like, is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, 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 yeah.
So maybe give us one of your more profound experiences if you care to share.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you what, I had vague memories of this Neville guy, right? So I was so at the time, my wow, I had a quest for truth. I just figured if I couldn't alleviate my own suffering, I had really bad PTSD. My quest was for truth. While I'm here, give me a sneak peek. While I'm here, let me know. Because I can't stand the hell I'm going through. So I'm in bed one night, and like literally, Neville describes different events, and I felt as though the cosmos stopped, and I was basically being ripped in half, and this lightning bolt moves through me, and I start shaking like I've never shook before, and it's like, oh wow, I'm having a stroke. This is it. Yeah, maybe I'm going on to the next adventure. And then other things happened. Like I was reading a lot of Hindu stuff at the time. So yeah, I was experiencing something with this blue baby, and like this is my baby, and I didn't understand it all. But I really got like there was this. I was totally recontextualizing everything. I'm not this body. I'm what's behind the body. I'm not my circumstance. I'm literally the father of my circumstance, and I'm just writing this shit down the best I can, and laying in bed and crying, and taking walks in the woods and seeing all kind of things that really shouldn't be there, like auras and stuff, and it's like, all right. And then it's like I've got to make sense out of this stuff. I'm seeing everything and everyone is lovely. Uh, love isn't something that you chase after. It's something that you are and that you can't help but give. And all these understandings are happening, and I'm looking at different things. I'm going online, and again, Neville pops up. Probably the weirdest thing was whenever the electrical changes happened in my body after the episode, I shook like I had Parkinson's for about a year,
Oh, wow.
and I could control it, but I didn't want to because I liked the feel. So I'd be walking down to East Park to do my Tai Chi and yoga and stuff, and I'd be just shaking like I was the captain of Parkinson's. And people like stop and look. And the other weird thing a buddy of mine told me about, he goes, "Did you know when you walk under street lights during the daytime, they turn on?" And I'm like, "No." Uh, and I said, "I am aware of at nighttime they turn off." He goes, "Yeah, it's weird." And the third really weird, just wacky shit thing was I couldn't handle floppy disks. And I imagine we're about the same age. So my buddy Bill would do artwork for me because I was writing magazine articles at the time. And he would do the artwork for them. And I'd go over to his joint and look at it, make a few corrections, and he'd hand it to me on a floppy disk. And by the time I get home, it'd be erased. And then yeah, we only lived like a block and a half away from each other. And after the third time, he's like, "I'll just take it over for you." So he'd bring it over to my house and plug it in my machine so I didn't have to touch it. But it was that weird that the electrical system had to rewire, so on. So and the whole time there was this feeling of deep bliss and love that just permeated everything. And what do you do with that? You just let it weave into the rest of your life. At some point, the myelin repaired itself and all that other stuff that happens in the neurology, and fun and functional again.
So then you're off to the races then, as they say.
Off to the races and not wiggling like, God, it was a trip.
Yeah, that's incredible. I don't think people understand. Well, I know they don't understand, most of them, how much power we really have. That magnetic field was just erasing those
Burst.
discs just like that,
Absolutely.
man.
It was the craziest thing. And I usually don't talk about it much, but I treasure it because it's like for anyone, I think one of the problems that I notice with people is they get lost in their heads with this stuff. And it's like, this isn't philosophy. There's a philosophy inside of it. This is a physiology. It's a philosophy. It's personal. It's you. It's it's the personification of love. And when we get, this is so far beyond. Here's my opinion about things. We all have opinions, right? You know what Grandpa used to say about opinions. I won't say that, but we all have opinions, and that's fine and fun. But at the end of the day, what we really all are is love.
I agree.
And and oh, I so get it that you do. And I love that Neville basically says, uh, if you could fall so in love with a state, with an experience, and wear it like a fragrant odor.
That's
Isn't that
beautiful.
what we do when we fall in love with uh, a lover, with a dog, with a moment? If we can so fall in love that we wear it like a fragrant odor. I talk about Victoria at the pool, and oftentimes I'll just call her that woman. And I'll say, "Yeah, I'm going to go home to that woman and eat lunch," and and none of them think that I have any disrespect for her. They can tell I ooze this love around her and about her because I do love her tremendously. And if we could so fall in love with a state, an experience, a desire that we wear it like a fragrant odor.
My friend, that is a beautiful picture you're painting there. I love it. I don't think I've heard it
Ah,
quite put that way, but yeah. And I don't recall hearing or reading Neville on that. I'm sure I probably have, but you just read so much. But
poke me, and I'll
but
send you the link and a little lesson that we built that into one of our programs.
okay,
You'll love it.
I
All right.
will. Yeah. I'll probably go, oh
Cool.
yeah, I have read this before, but I just, I've read so much stuff, it's sometimes hard to keep track of it all, but
It is.
I love that picture, man. That was awesome. So what do you tell let's man, like we could just end the conversation here now and it's like I'm happy.
Or we could dance a few more dances.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we will.
there,
I'm not planning on. I'm
I,
just saying that was
yeah,
that was awesome. I was
nice.
gonna say, and I'll let you take it wherever you want, but I was gonna say maybe we could look at what do you tell if a newbie, so to speak, who's coming in and saying, "All right, 20, I need a new Mercedes, or I need a new this or that, or I need some money, or I have this person I'm in love with, and they won't give me the time of day." Where do you start with someone like that, kind
Right.
of?
I love Neville Goddard's first principle, stop and be still. I love, there's a quote, he says it a couple different ways. Uh, your desires have their own plan and power of fulfillment, and they're divine in origin. We did a live call recently on this where we explored problems are universal, desires are unique. The universal problems, relationships, yeah, sex, marriage, dating, money, health, three universal problems. Everyone's going to bump into them sooner or later. But what are your desires? I'm telling you, pal, December 25th, Victoria's at her family's for Christmas. I've just elected to stay home because I feel like shit. I'm back at the cottage smoking a cigar, drinking a whiskey. The epiphany hits me and I cry because I'm fat. I'm screwed. Uh, I can't believe the condition I let my body get into. That doesn't mean I wasn't happy or successful or anything like that. I was, and I still am. But I realized I've got a desire that maybe nobody else on the planet has. I want to kick again. I want to dance around that ring like Bill Superfoot Wallace again. I want people to tell me, wow, uh, they called me Rubber Man back at the YMCA as a kid because I could do splits between chairs and I could put my foot like Billy Jack anywhere I wanted. And now my martial art as of a year ago had devolved into stand there and smash something. And I could do that, but I want to do more than stand there and smash something. I've got a unique desire, and my unique desire has its own plan, its own power of fulfillment. And my job is to surrender to the richness of that. And if I surrender to the richness of, 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 of strutting, I love strutting. Right? I just do. I'm from the 70s. I'm from the 80s, man. Like John Travolta, right? I just love the feel of the strut, right? Bob Seger, I love the feel of the strut. Domino dancing, I love the feeling of the strut. But I was a hobble. I love the feeling of just dancing around and kicking and having fun. But I was a smash it. And so I've got this unique desire. My unique desire has its own plan and power fulfillment for me. I surrendered to the richness of that. I took my fat photos and I haven't eaten a carb since.
Awesome.
I lost all interest in vegetables. So when I go on the carnivore groups and they'll say I'm struggling, I need a cheat meal, I can't understand that because my identity has become fighting fit fleshitarian. So what do? Oh, I'll eat a piece of cow, some pork, and eggs all for lunch. So I've got variety in every meal. It's just my crazy way of doing it, and I'll make a big deal about it and just have fun. But it's got to be feel it real fun. That's the video channel, feelitrealfun.com. It's got to be fun. If from what I can tell, what we are is love. We are God having the adventure of a lifetime. Being God having the adventure of a lifetime and being love, we came here to have fun as well as be the blessing. Why be the blessing if you got to sacrifice? That's weird to me. But while I'm having fun, what are my desires? Man, I'm talking to another long-term martial artist here who also is a fleshitarian in one way or the other. This is a dream come true for me, and I didn't know that about you. And
Me
now
too.
you and I are dancing a dance. And do you know about my top secret agenda?
I don't.
I've got a top secret agenda, and you can steal this because you already are doing this. I want more playtime and more playmates. In other words, I want more play in the world and less war. And
Mm.
so the more I can embody the state of more playtime and more playmates, hi, I just found a playmate. What are you and I doing? We're playing. What if people watching and listening to this decided, you know what I want? I'm stealing Mr. 2020's agenda too. More playtime, more playmates. So instead of it being serious about the car, the money, the travel, if
Mm.
they hold their breath, they're manifesting holding their breath.
I
But
knew
yeah, I just like this.
I knew there was a reason my intuition said, "Oh, you got to interview 2020." You know,
Mm,
it wasn't just, "Oh, who's the next guy?" It was like, and I'm learning too as I started doing these interviews because I'm kind of new at it. Before it was just me speaking on my channel, and now I'm doing these interviews. I'm learning that if I don't, when the intuition pops into my head, if I don't do that person, nothing else will come up. I'm just got to sit there and it's like, okay, I'm going to do that person. You know, if I start trying to get in the way and go, oh, maybe I shouldn't do it because of this, or maybe I should wait, or that, that kind of stupid shit.
yeah, yeah.
But
Wait, I
you reminded me of something when you when you were talking about Superfoot Wallace. There's a picture of me and a couple of my buddies at Long Beach International Championships with Joe
wow.
Lewis. With
Oh wow.
and actually, I think Joe Lewis, Jeff Smith were there, and who else? I don't think Wallace was there at that particular one because they ran that every year, you know. And so now I'm gonna have to go see if I can dig that out somewhere. It's in a box or something
Oh,
somewhere.
if you find it, send me a copy. I would
I
love to
will, I
see that.
will.
Wow.
So we
I
used to
always,
go.
always, I always loved Joe Lewis. He was just another heart and soul guy. You know, I don't know if he's still
Yeah,
alive or not, but he
I
was
think
heart
he
and
is.
soul.
Yeah, I think
Nice.
he is still alive. Yeah, but yeah, and he became a student of Bruce Lee. And
Yeah.
so that was really interesting. And he had a lot of good things to say about Bruce. So,
How
but
could anyone say something bad about Bruce? I mean, I get it. He had a lot of yang energy and he popped. Okay, we can say that's bad. But beyond that, God, the guy lived from vision. He just didn't say, I'm going to go have, as much as I adore fun. What I adore more than that is vision. This guy, he said, I'm going to change everything. And he changed his martial art, he changed his body, he changed the movie industry, he changed everything.
yeah, he
He
changed
had a
martial
vision.
arts.
He
Yeah,
changed martial arts. Without him, yeah, a world without Bruce Lee is like a world without the Beatles. I,
exactly.
yeah, do we really want to go there?
Well, I'm a musician too. So,
Wow.
are you a musician?
I have an opera coach.
Okay.
So the only instrument I'm good at is my voice. I've tried the ukulele and the guitar. Boy, talk about some mind scrambling me. Uh, there's a rubber chicken video somewhere on the internet where I played the rubber chicken, making fun of the seduction crowd. It was not my most popular video, but I still get interesting emails over that. But
Well, you're a musician. The voice is as important an instrument as all the rest of them, in my
yes,
opinion. So,
well, I picked up along the years when the closest thing to me is another human being. We are divinity, uh, beholding divinity. And if you can touch someone with your eyes and bathe them with your voice, in other words, be with them versus look at them, talk at them, completely different experience. And when I look at like Freddie Mercury, and this guy would get on the stage and behold his audience, and it's like, okay, could he sing? Damn right. He got that his voice was his main instrument, but he beheld his audience and he beckoned them to something different. And he's another one. A world without Freddie Mercury, Bruce Lee, and the Beatles. I don't want to live there.
I, I agree. Wouldn't this place be a dismal place without music? Oh my gosh.
Yes,
And all the other fun things out there. Yeah, Freddie Mercury, I think that actually he embodies becoming one with everybody and everything. He would become one with his audience.
oh,
I mean, you can look at those
absolutely.
videos, you can still look at those videos and get goosebumps just watching him,
I do. I'm
Yeah,
having goosebumps just talking about watching him.
yeah, yeah. I remember when he first came out, boy, we were like, who is that? My God, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm a guitar player, and so Brian May, a
Oh, wow.
very underrated guitar player. Oh my gosh, Brian May, he's right up there with all the greats.
Totally agree.
Wow. I did not, I'll have to be honest with you. I did not expect this conversation to go where it's gone right from the beginning, to be honest with you.
Uh, yeah, so you mentioned something earlier, and kind of forget what it was, but what popped in was a lesson we explore in one of the programs, instantaneous and spontaneous. Yes, that's it. So whenever you feel the beckoning, I got to talk to this guy, and you surrender to this instantaneous and spontaneous, we call it upside or out of the blue, the magic happens. On the other hand, if we go rational, well, let me see. I mean, his name begins with the letter T. I'm not doing the letter T until the month of June. Uh, we will rationalize, think ration, small amount of food, cut into bits. We will ration our lives to death. Neville says that the rational, the logical is only the interference. We are rational beings. We have to be. That's how I got the headsets plugged in and the roto light set up of Zoom. Rational is a part of our experience. It's a little bit of salt. But yeah, flesh and fire, that for me is the meal. And that's the magical. Whenever we allow ourselves to be the magical that we are, uh, this kind of conversation happens. And we could script it. Tell us about Feel It Real. Well, Feel It Real was developed by Neville Goddard, who died in 1970. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and nobody cares. AI can do that. AI can't do what we're doing. AI has its place. It can be useful. It thinks I've written 7 bestsellers so far, right? And my wife is a supermodel, and she is gorgeous, right? But it's like, all right, AI does the best it can, but it can't dance. And you and I, letting the magic, letting the music of us show up, invites a dance that has never happened and will never happen again. But it's a dance that can inspire other dances in a world where we're drowning in data.
Mhm.
We don't need more data. We need more of what you and I are uh, spontaneously, instantaneously, and spontaneously surrendering to. Here
I
we are.
love it. I love it, my friend. This is awesome. Yeah, I was just thinking that. I just did a video of just me talking about how we need more love and this kind of thing, and especially when we see what's going on in the world right now and all the angst out there amongst the people who don't know who and what they are.
Yep.
And so um yeah, and that's why I was inspired to do this. I'm following intuition on starting to interview people. It's like for a while, it's like, I don't want to interview people. It's too much trouble. It's too much hassle, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The logical mind. And then it was like, that it kept, divinity or whatever kept knocking, saying, hey, no, you need to do this. You need to do this. Like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, I give up. I'm doing it. And now it's like, for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm actually doing what I'm supposed to be doing 100%. There's been a few times where I felt like maybe 95 or that kind of thing. And it probably was at that particular time that the time wasn't right for me to do what I'm doing now. And now the time
Yeah.
is right. And the world needs more of it. And
So you're living your vision.
absolutely.
Yeah. I've got a crazy name related to vision. This
Okay.
this this seems to be what I can't escape and always try to. I want to teach whatever. I want to help people. All this stuff. When I stopped trying to hide from what I'm here to do, uh, I want you to live your vision. The only way you can live your vision is to realize that you are God having the adventure of a lifetime. You are love. You came here to have fun, not to sacrifice. You came here to stretch and soar. This is the nature of vision. And and when we deny that, which I am so good at, and you are so good at, we
We all
become
are.
rationed and we develop territories to defend. When we move into magical, we discover terrains to explore, adventures to go on, friends to hike in the woods with, mountaintops to go, buddy, look at this. Wow. We get to see things that no one else has ever seen and invite them to see them too. The nature of vision compounds everything in the most lovely way. But when we ration, oh, thank you for choosing to let your vision grow and show up, because you, you and I, vision dancing with vision, love dancing with love. It's all one anyway. But letting this show up, you and I will never know the lives that are touched by it. We'll know some of them, they'll leave comments, uh, but we will never know the lives that are touched by someone just going, wow, life has changed forever.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just a small channel right now, and I'm already reaching tens of thousands of people. And I'm like, wow, how else could you do this? Most people are, lucky to reach 100 people in their own sphere of
Yeah,
influence.
they're
So,
hungry. They're just so hungry, Blaine. And most of them are searching so much, and they're settling for data, all this all this AI data, all these parrots just saying data, reading scripts. On the other hand, they're starving for dance. They are so starving for dance. And if we give it to them, there's more dance in the world. And hell, there's more dance in my world this morning, because here we are dancing.
awesome. It's the love dance, or the dance of love.
That's it. Do you
Divine.
like Leonard Cohen?
I do. I'm not, that's not my genre, but yeah, I mean, I can always appreciate,
I
great
I
musicians.
I invite you to check out So Long Marianne. It's like 10 episodes, and it's about young Leonard Cohen. And one of the things that happens is Leonard moves to Greece, and he wants to be a writer. And he's a poet, and he's a writer, and no one gives a shit. Nobody at all. And uh, they like his stuff. It sells a little. People go, that's nice. But he's always sitting around with a guitar, and people are saying, Leonard, sing me a song. Leonard, sing me a song. Leonard, sing me a song. And come about episode 10 of the darn thing, Leonard starts getting on stage. And that's what he came here to do. He came here to get on stage and talk while he played guitar. And just the journey of that, watching Leonard go, oh, I want to do poetry. I want to write books. Nobody cares. A few people do. But to have him awaken to, what did I come here to do? This. And it's such a love story between him and Marianne, but also between him and himself. This guitar that he's been carrying around with him from one continent to another, it's not just a sideshow, it's his main gig.
I'll have to check it
And here
out.
you,
I love stuff
yeah,
like that.
it's lovely. And here you are with your main gig. We get to see where it all goes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. I'm speechless, man.
Mm.
When you said that I forget what you were talking about a little earlier, but you said it almost brings a tear to your eye. It's like, that's when you know you're touching the divine, when you get that tear, you know,
Yeah.
or you're getting close to it. But I love the way you describe that. Say it again, we're God having a,
From what I can tell, and I will always preface it with that, because I just only speak from what I can tell. Uh, we are God having the adventure of a lifetime.
yeah, there
We
you
are
go.
how God has the adventure of a lifetime, and we will do anything we can as human beings, which is delightful as well, to go right here. I'm going to add in drama and dilemma. Oh my God, drama! People love drama, and then there's dilemma. Damned if I do, if I'm damned if I do that, and when it doesn't have to be that way. Uh, Instead of drama and dilemma, we can have dance. To have dance, we have to honor our music. To honor our music, we get to honor our magic. And what's your magic? It's the same as mine and unique. It's the spark behind the eyes.
Yeah,
Wow.
I often say we are unique expressions of the one, or of God, the source, whatever
Yes.
you want to call it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's interesting that you say that too. Some of the ancient wisdoms describes us as like, or analogizes us as musical notes. I
Nice.
can't
Very
remember
nice.
where I've read that, but I know I've read it somewhere in some of the ancient
Well, yeah.
wisdom.
Well, they say sing to the Lord a new song. They talk about the music of the spheres. You look at all this old weird shit and new scientific shit, and it all comes down to there's a magicalness to it all. And isn't it lovely when somebody actually is singing their song? That's the dance of divinity within them. That's the dance of divinity they are. And
There you go. The dance of divinity. I love that. That's good. That's great.
there we are.
Yeah.
And we get to discover it because we can't possibly define it. If we define it, we've gone into rational. But we get to discover it. Oh, wow. I thought I was a karate instructor. You want to hear a real funny story?
Oh yeah,
My
absolutely.
my my dear friend Michael King has brought me back from not teaching 3 times. I had an Army Navy store and I refused to teach martial arts. I was still practicing, but I refused to teach. Mike came in and said, "Hey, you want to teach?" I said, "No." "Do you want to teach me?" "I always liked you. Would you like to teach me and 3 of my friends that are just like me?" "Oh yeah, fair enough." And so we did this a couple times. And at one time I was done teaching groups. And so Mike was paying me to come in and we were doing some different drills. And I noticed an hour's worth of time, he's paying me good money to do these different martial arts drills. And we'll do less and less every hour. And finally he comes in, he goes, "I just want to talk to you. I love the martial art bit, but I just want to talk with you." And so we'd go sit on a picnic table and talk for an hour. And then I discovered, I guess I'm a coach. I guess I talk to people. I didn't know that. I thought I was teaching people how to do kung fu and have nice conversations while doing it. I discovered I came here to talk with people. Wow, who would have thought? To
Yeah.
this day, Mike will reach out and it's like, "Hey, can we chat? I just need a little clarity." Cool, let's do it. Uh, we discover our magic along the way. I define myself as a karate instructor and a kung fu instructor and a qigong instructor, and I kept quitting all those. I got to discover I'm here to talk this stuff, so I do. It's the magic.
Yeah. It's interesting where life takes us. Yeah. I went through some of that too. I taught for a while. I trained, I fought full contact karate when it first came out. We were doing
Oh
MMA.
yeah,
We were doing MMA, I guess, before the term was coined, because
that's right.
Bruce Lee came on the scene and we immediately started modifying the styles and, whatever
Yep,
works, use it became our style.
that's it. That's it.
So,
Yeah. Disregard what doesn't work. You know,
yeah. You
totally.
you bring a lot of memories back, 20 to bringing up that stuff.
Beautiful. Let
So,
them grow. Let them grow. Let them grow.
so I was out in the garage the other day. I have a bag out there and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hit and kick the bag a little bit.
Nice.
So I think I still got it somewhat, but I need I I don't have it all anymore like I used to, put it that way. Need to get back
Yeah.
there if I can, or at least close.
I can promise you, you've got potentials in you that you never had before,
Yeah.
and you just get to explore those. As a 58-year-old fella, I've got skills that I didn't have when I was 23,
Yeah.
uh, and also some wisdoms, and and so I get to blast the bag as I do. I use that. We've got pull-up bars that at the gym, and I use them for doing hand drills like a Wing Chun dummy. I have a lot of fun with that,
Oh yeah.
and it's just like I get to discover the new dance of me and bring forth that 18-year-old, that 23-year-old, the 40-year-old, and just see, wait, what can fit in this body now?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Well,
it's
because
nice.
in your mind, you never left 30, right? But when your body starts rebelling and saying, "Hey, we can't do that anymore," you're like, "Okay, something's wrong. We should still be able to do that." And that's kind of how I look at it.
It can definitely catch up.
Yeah.
I'm doing
So,
shit now that I didn't think I'd be able to do anymore. Thinking is always the interference, but I just imagine I just felt the fun. I just felt the fun. I'm curious what I'll be doing in a year. So curious.
yeah. Yeah, me too. I'm actually looking forward to that. I'm doing when we started out in martial arts, it was snapping all those kicks in the air and stuff, and so I have some cartilage problems and knee problems and stuff until we found out, yeah, hey, you're not supposed to do that. You need to hit something if you're going to kick. And
Right.
or if you're going to go in the air, you don't snap it. So that kind of stuff. And so this carnivore thing supposedly can help with all of that. And so I'm really looking forward to having my joints back to some semblance of normalcy.
I tell you what. I don't talk the diet much because people will are you say think I'm blaming the diet, which I'm not. But along the way, the more research I read way too much. I just love it. But we've come across some supplements like NMN, which is a fascinating one, uh, and eating the fat and the flesh. If I'm drawn to something, I do it. So I read a little bit. This NMN guy shows up on my YouTubes, and I go, I like the sound of the letters, and it feels good, so I'll buy some. Right? I have no idea. And so I take some of that, and I find myself eating fat and flesh cooked on fire every day, and that's all fun. But I can tell you the experts at the pool. I mean, and there's all kinds that have shown up because they do a lot of rehab in the warm water pool. Uh, they've told me for 2 years I am looking at a guaranteed hip replacement. Sooner or later, I can do whatever I want, but it's going, and it was. And now what I get is, wow, when'd you have it done? Uh, that's great. They think I got a hip replacement. I have. I've regrown it and gone from every pain. I tell you, here's a funny story. Want to hear a funny story?
Oh, absolutely.
So we've got this bush outside of the door here. It's 11 steps away from me, I think. It's 27 steps to the loo. And so when I was in pain every day, needing a walking stick, taking 90 seconds to 2 minutes to get out of the chair, if I had to pee, I would get up and walk outside and pee on the tree because it's 11 steps versus 27 or something like that. Uh, Victoria is always buying gardening stuff, and she has these people show up, and we often offer to give them a tour because we live in a very unique environment. And the guy walks past, he goes, "My God, that's a something or another. So that's the best one I've ever seen. What are you doing to it?" And she goes, "My husband pees on it about 10 times a day."
I like it.
Right now, now she's imagining this plant being awesome. I'm just trying not to be in pain. So instead of 27 steps, 11 steps, you do the math 10 times a day. That's a lot of steps, right? So that's where I was. Walking stick, 2 minutes in and out of the chair. 11 steps versus 27. I can skip. I can strut. I've got variable speeds. Variable speeds is a real big blessing. And since I don't need a walking stick, I've got two hands to carry shit versus one. The way we can transform, and even as of a little of a time as a year, with these things that they say are impossible, like knee joints and hip joints. Oh dear, I so look forward to seeing your kicks and dance because we've got it. We've got the keys to the kingdom here. And I notice the biggest thing with Neville Goddard's teachings, and this is how I can spot when people modify a quote or something is AI or someone just doesn't understand it. The pearl of great price. There's one power. No other powers over you. Now here's the deal. The one power that decides I'm going on a road trip and drives the car. Petrol goes into the car because I have a petrol car. Petrol doesn't cause the road trip. And so I imagine fighting fit fleshitarian, doing my little Bill Wallace gig. And I find myself unable to eat carbs, unable to eat vegetables, enjoying taking my NMN. I have no idea if it does anything. I can't even say what it actually is. It's 3 letters, right? And it's in a pill, so I take it. But suddenly, I don't have pain every step. I can actually strut. And it's the most fascinating thing to me because as soon as we blame age, we've sold the pearl. As soon as we blame our history, we've sold the pearl. And you know what I was doing last year? I was blaming age and history. I should know better.
Mhm.
And I have my Christmas Day epiphany, and I go, right. Takes everything we do to a whole new level. Look at my face from a year ago to today. Totally different human. Same divinity, except I'm just accessing the dance that we are instead of the dreads that I had. Man, if I'm this screwed up now, imagine how screwed up I'll be next year. Ooh. We can live according to stories, or we can live from states. The story was, I'm getting worse, getting older. I'm doing all right. I'm making progress. There's the worst story in the world. I'm making progress. We didn't came here to make progress. We came here to change in the twinkle of an eye. Personal transformation. We are the unique expression of the divinity, personal transformation. And then God said, let there be light. Hey, how about plants? That could be fun.
Ooh.
Oh, look at that. Let's make a platypus. Yeah, like,
Mhm.
it wasn't like, let's do it slow and progress. Let's do it. And this is
Yeah,
how we get to live.
I, I love it. That's an awesome explanation or description of becoming who
Hmm,
or what you want to be,
you
or
got it.
what your desire is. You explain it beautifully, man. I'm
So
just sit. I'm just. Go ahead.
where are you in the world today?
You mean actual location?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm in Idaho, USA. Do you know where that is?
Wow. Yes, sir. I grew
It,
up in Pennsylvania. So,
okay.
so I know where Idaho is, and I can imagine you. I can feel you in my garden, us enjoying some flesh cooked on fire, and I can imagine you in our garden. Bring me a couple smokes if you can. Cigars are real expensive in Australia. So if you brought a few Rocky Patels, that'd be great. I'll supply the whiskey. And so I can feel us in the garden playing some martial arts stuff, the dance that we are, the giggles we can share. Uh, and if we both surrendered to that at some point, oh yeah, hey, you want to eat now? Yeah.
I'm absolutely down for it. I've never been to Australia before. I'd love to go.
Beauty.
Um, and the same, it's the same for you. I'm actually a what they call a regenerative farmer, or at least I
Wow.
kind of retired. And
Yeah.
so I've been working on that. Was one of the things where I felt that was something I was supposed to be doing. But it didn't, it always still seemed like there was something missing, that was very fulfilling and very satisfying. I'm kind of semi-retired now. I still have some animals and I still have a big garden and that kind of stuff. And um,
Wow.
but we're regenerating the soils that the chemical industrial farming
Yeah.
enterprises have
Nice.
have destroyed and continue to destroy. But we're working on it. So so
Would
when
you
you
like to hear a Would you like to hear a soil story?
sure,
So we live in Nillumbik which basically means county.
right.
Nillumbik translates to wasteland or soil. So, rubbish soil is what the natives would call this place. Inside of Nillumbik, we live in a little place called Eltham. Eltham, when you translate the words, means home or village of God. And I go, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm the weird guy that does this research. I have no idea why. And then Victoria and I live in the ultimate manifestation story. The ultimate manifestation story goes like this. There was a potter and her husband, and there was a valley full of government land. And they decided we're going to build a one-room house out of mud, which they did. It's called mud brick. So they made these mud bricks and made a one-room house out of mud. And then they said, two people living in one room made of mud is too much. So they made two. They expanded it. And the local cops said, what do we do? We got some dope smoking hippies. They're making a house out of mud on the government land. And the local council said, leave them alone. We know where they are. They're not causing any problems. So they lived in this little two-room mud brick thing, uh, which is featured in a book called The Dirt Cheap Mud Brick Book. I'll send you a photo. And it's so cool. And after 10 years, they went to the government and said, hey, we've been living here for 10 years. We want the valley.
Good for
And the
them.
government says, okay. So the government gives them the whole valley. At that point, they build the main house, which is where we live. So we've got the little cottage out back where I every day sit there and do what I do. We've got the main house, which I'm sitting in now, and they get title to the whole valley. The whole valley currently would be estimated worth about $4 to $5 million.
Wow.
They manifested all that. Now, the cool thing is, she was a potter, and Neville Goddard talks about the potter's house. And what does the potter do? The potter refashions the vessel. The word potter means imagination, and the potter doesn't discard anything, it refashions the vessel. We literally live in the potter's house in the village of God in the middle of the wasteland. How fascinating is that for a manifesting story?
That's
My
incredible.
It's
It's in,
it's the weirdest and most incredible thing in the world to me because I can't make this up, but I can share it. And I suspect all of us have access to these possibilities, and most of us rationalize them away.
yeah, and
I have,
that's in the scriptures too. That's the parable of the potter's uh
yes,
will. You know, that's where Neville
that's where
comes
Neville got
up,
it from.
got it from, and
Yes,
puts his twist on it, so to speak.
you got it.
That's an awesome story. That's an awesome story. There's a lot of folks in Australia that are jumping on the regenerative agriculture bandwagon, you know, because
Oh,
of,
oh, oh, sorry. That's where it all started. And so we live in the Shire of Wasteland. And what does Victoria do? She's married to Mr. 2020, the man of vision, right? And she makes a decision one day. She can buy a ride-on mower and cut the grass that's growing in this shitty soil, or she can do what. Thank you for telling me regenerative soil, because I know I had a point in telling y'all this. So she builds soil. She's been doing permaculture kind of things and all this stuff, biodynamic stuffy stuff, and the magic has come to the property. And if you saw this place when she moved here in my first couple of years here, it too was a wasteland. And we had a choice: buy a ride-on mower. Why? Or take that same amount of money. Neville Goddard says always be investing your time, your money, your imaginal act, your sweat. And we built these garden beds, mostly her. She bought literally these massive chunks of what's called bluestone that built a local prison. They were tearing down this prison, so we've got a prison in our backyard. Given my history, that's fascinating. But we look at it all, and it's like she's regenerated it. The power of vision. Uh, there's your soil story. There's your interview story. We're regenerating. We are life giving spirits. And that dead soil out there is now full of life.
yeah, that, that's an incredible story. Yeah, I'm a certified permaculturist too.
Oh, wow. Okay. See, what a dance we've woven.
I took the class from Jeff Lawton. I don't know. Your wife has probably heard of him if she's into permaculture. He's like the grandfather, or well, there's a guy before him that he was under, but
Wow.
anyways,
Small world.
but he's getting up there now too, and so I don't know who's going to take that spot when he moves on. So
Somebody with vision.
yeah, he's over. I think
Someone.
he's over in Tasmania now, actually.
Oh, wow.
So, but
Small world.
he started out in somewhere near you guys, I think, if I remember
Wow.
correctly.
Wow.
Yeah, well, but all of that, these stories, you know, some people I don't know might go, well, I didn't come here to listen to that, but all of these stories symbolize what you were just talking about, regenerating and getting back to who and what we are and touching
You
that
bet.
divinity that is that we all are. You know, I love how Neville talks about that when he says we're, you know, he goes, why should I get angry at my brother? You know, because the same God or divinity that's in him is in me. We're, you know, we're one. Well, so why get angry
Yes.
at him? You know, even if he's being an ass, you know.
That's it.
So
That's it.
so, and we've all been asses before, so you know.
Beautiful.
Man, this is incredible. So yeah, well, you spoke it, my friend. I'm going to be coming to Australia at some point.
I so look forward to it. And I just imagine the sunshine and the smiles.
Yeah, you too. You're looking great too, man. Your smile is very what's the word? I can't think of the word. It's catching. That's not the right word, but close enough.
I'll use unedited.
Well, go ahead.
And I notice, and I unedited. I'll just use the word unedited. And I love that you are unedited, not scripted, just
Yeah,
radiant. Yeah.
yeah. You too. I can feel it, man. I can feel
I
the dance.
yes.
I like that you
I
call it that.
I unfortunately have to go soon.
Okay,
And I would love to dance with you again some other time. Because I
absolutely.
suspect there's a lot that we could bump into that would give to a lot of people.
Absolutely. I think this is going to help a lot of people, just this conversation alone. This is like Neville, like you've never seen before, you know.
Perfectly
or,
put. Nice.
or heard before. You know, that might end up in the title or on the thumbnail or something like that. So we'll see.
Gorgeous.
I do a lot of research to try and come up with the thumbnails that, you know, because I try not to be too clickbaity, but you know, if you can't get them in there to listen, you know, you can have the best video in the world. And so,
I got
anyways,
it. So
so
may I ask you one question and then you can take over completely?
absolutely.
What can I imagine lovingly for you?
What can you imagine lovingly for me? For probably, this is going to sound a little superficial, I guess, but I want this channel to go to 100,000 subscribers. I want to reach more people, not for the money. I could make some money on that, and that would be helpful, but that's not my goal. My goal is 100,000 subscribers.
All right. I'll imagine both.
Both.
Yeah, the subscribers and the incomes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you might as well have both. You mentioned them both,
Yeah, well,
and we can accept both.
absolutely. The money will come. I know that,
Yeah,
but it's not my
yeah,
first
I
thing.
got it.
I'm following the vision, as you say, you know, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And especially in this time right now, I don't know if do you feel this way, that there's like a new energy coming in, and more people seem to be waking up, at least to some degree. Are you feeling that,
I
or?
I notice a hunger, and I think as a amateur chef, I've got a duty to cook food, and I just notice more and more that there's a hunger. I don't know if there's more hunger or not, or if I'm just noticing it more, but it's like, uh, if I can make a meal and the smell gives to someone, and the sight gives to someone, and a nibble gives to someone, or if they steal it off my plate, I don't care. It's my duty to make the meal, and it's a pleasure to make the meal.
Sounds
So
awesome.
I'm with you.
You're making me hungry.
Good. Send me a photo of your next meal.
Okay, I will. I will do that.
Okay.
Do you have any parting message that you want to leave with the audience?
Stop and be still. Your awareness of being as God, you are how God has the adventure of a lifetime. Your desires are divine in origin. They have their own plan and power of fulfillment. And you didn't come here to struggle. You came here to stretch. Like the eagle, when the eagle stretches his wings, he soars. Those invisible currents lift. You are a wind to me. I don't know if you know this, but you are. I've imagined personally reaching more people in different ways and having lovely chats. And you reach out, and I go, look at him. You know, he looks lovely. And I can't wait for our chat. And here we are. So thank you for playing your part in my vision. And it's been an honor to play my part in yours.
And it's been an honor for me too, my friend. I appreciate you taking the time out, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for being on.
Oh, thanks, Blaine.